Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about updates from practice for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description, but let's jump straight into the video. So practice in Saudi Arabia was pretty similar to that of Bahrain in the respect that FP1 wasn't really a representative session, and that's because the conditions don't match what we'll see in the Grand Prix and qualifying. You know, it'll be evening when the cars go out, and FP1 was held during the daytime. So the more representative session was FP2, and it looks like, again, McLaren are going to be the team to beat. They just look on another level. They look seriously quick around this circuit. And it also looks really quick between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. There's not a lot between them. You know, sometimes Norris is a bit quicker, sometimes Piastri is a bit quicker. And you look at the sector times and yeah, there's basically nothing to split them. So very close between Norris and Piastri. Now, away from McLaren, I think one team that will be happy is Red Bull, because their car looks a lot better in Saudi Arabia than what it did in Bahrain. As we know, Bahrain was a complete disaster for the team. You know, the balance was off, the brakes were off, the car was just all over the place, and neither Max Verstappen or Yuki Tsunoda could drive around the problems, and the pace just was not there. But you go to Saudi Arabia, and yes, you heard Verstappen complain on the team radio a bit about little things, but on the whole, the pace looked much better. They were more competitive, and Verstappen was around 2/10 down on the McLarens, and Tsunoda was around 3/10 down on Verstappen. And speaking about the car after FP1, Red Bull team boss Christian Horner said, as quoted by Sky F1, "We experienced two very contrasting emotions in Japan. Getting that win, then Bahrain was a tricky one. We're trying a few different things this weekend, so that session was all about trying to be a little bit radical with some of the setup. We have plenty to look at and ran the cars differently in first practice." So it looks like the car is more balanced, and that is good news for the team, who actually did bring upgrades to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. This includes an enlarged central exit of its engine cover to aid reliability, as well as a new beam wing. But it wasn't all smooth for Red Bull, because Yuki Tsunoda had a crash in practice too. Basically, he clipped the wall on the way into the final corner and then completely lost any steering, leaving him as a passenger as the car slid into the barrier on the other side of the track, and that just completely wrecked the car, and that was the end of his session. So that's going to be a bit of a repair job for Red Bull, but you know, as I say, the good news for the team is that the car is looking better than what it did in Bahrain. But let's move on to Ferrari, with it looking like Charles Leclerc has found a groove around the circuit and is up there. But Lewis Hamilton seems to be struggling a bit around the track. You know, with Leclerc, he was finishing P3 in FP1, P4 in FP2. And you've got to remember as well that Leclerc's FP2 soft tyre running was disrupted, so I think he could have gone even faster. So Leclerc looking pretty competitive, but Hamilton, yeah, he's just struggling for pace at the moment, it looks like, and he finished down in 13th. Now, as we know, Ferrari have a new floor on the car. It was introduced in Bahrain, and the goal of this floor is to reduce bottoming and keep the SF25 in its ideal operating window. And it seems that both Leclerc and Hamilton are more confident with the car's improved behaviour, but we'll see what happens as the weekend goes on. But as I say, it looks like Leclerc is maybe a bit more confident than Hamilton at the moment. He's still got pace to find. And it was a bit of a messy FP2 for Hamilton, because he was caught up in an incident with Alex Albon. Basically, Hamilton was driving slowly on the racing line through turns 17 and 18 ahead of a fast approaching Alex Albon. Albon was on a push that when he suddenly had to take avoiding action to miss Hamilton, and it was very close, because if Albon hadn't taken that avoiding action, there would have been a big crash. And Albon went on to complain over the radio that Hamilton's driving was dangerous, but the stewards have decided to take no further action, with their statement saying, "The stewards determined that car 44 unnecessarily impeded car 23 during practice at turn 17. However, as agreed with the teams, unless the impeding during free practice was such that it could be regarded as dangerous, there will be no penalty for such impeding. During the hearing, the driver of car 23 felt he had the car under control at all times, and while he was impeded, he did not consider the situation to be dangerous. He had seen car 44 in front of him during the corner before, however, he did not expect car 44 to be in the position on track that he was in, and that shocked the driver of car 23 as he approached turn 17 and had to take evasive action. While his immediate reaction when the incident occurred was to say it was dangerous, having looked at it subsequently, he agreed that it was not. We accordingly took no further action. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.